The wine cave here. Our guide repeatedly insisted the Soviets built this massive tunnel purely to store wine. But come on, that doesn't really add up. The Soviets didn't blast 8 kilometers of solid rock into this Caucasus foothills just to age some friggin' Saperavi. But that's what the winery would have you believe. It was space aliens. It was aliens. No, I'm just kidding. But if you're planning a trip to Georgia's wine country, or Kakheti, which really isn't the only wine country, but every guide will tell you you've got to see the Khareba wine tunnel. And they're probably right. But here's the kicker. It's not actually a wine tunnel. It wasn't originally a wine tunnel. It was a failed Soviet nuclear bunker. And, you know, they all, like Khareba's thing, they're trying to downplay that side. And they repeated it, like the girl repeated it like 3 times during the tour, that this is not bunker.
This tunnel was built for only wine storing.
But I don't buy it, man, because why would you build this thing, man? Like it's massive. It's 7.7 kilometers long. I'm getting ahead of myself, but like it's truly massive. And she repeated that so many times, and the whole tour takes a kind of a softball approach on Soviet lore. I'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, I'll show you what it's like inside the bunker, and that's what this is all about. Plus a couple things you can do, and also why it's a mistake to miss it from your Kakheti itinerary. But let's be upfront. Khareba is a bit of an assembly line tourist trap. It's kind of, if you've ever been to the pyramids, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's like they know you're going to come because of the thing itself. And the thing itself is worth it. I'm not saying the pyramids are not worth seeing. Okay, I might have to... yeah. Okay, the pyramids are worth seeing, obviously. But the experience around it, it's like they know it's worth seeing. They know you're going to go for the pyramids. And they know they have a captive audience that people are always going to come, no matter how bad they treat them. So they're just going to milk everything they can. And okay, Khareba Wine Tunnel is not that bad, nor is it that significant of a tourist attraction, because it's a wine tunnel. It's not the pyramids thing. But it kind of has that feel. I'll get more into it. Let me explain. So the parking lot is jammed with buses, as it goes. And they're kind of hustled through this heavily processed cultural experiences. They've got a whole list out, a framework of some pre-planned experiences and some you can match up what you want.
Basic package, 2 wine tasting, baking bread in clay oven, and making churchkhela. Churchkhela is Georgian sweets with walnuts and grapes juice. It will be 45 lari in 1 person. Standard package, 2 wine tasting, Qvevri opening ceremony, baking bread and baking acharul and khachapuri, 75 lari, and premium package, 4 wine tasting, baking bread, khachapuri, sikali, and churchkhela, 95 lari in 1 person. If you don't like any of these packages, you can create your own package in here. And also, if you're only interested in the tour only costs 10 lari in 1 person.
If you don't want the wine tasting, you don't have to have a wine tasting. You can see the bunker, you can make some bread making, you can do some churchkhela-making, and some other variety of stuff. So that is cool that they kind of include everybody, even people that don't drink can have some sort of experience. But the experiences themselves, I'll get to. After I get to the wine bunker, then I'll get to that. The nuclear wine bunker, nuclear shelter. So yeah, if you find these tips interesting or fun, do hit that like button down there. But here's why this all matters. I mean, like I said, you should still do it anyway, because the place is absurd. It's 7.7 kilometers of tunnels. The only time I was in a tunnel system that big was over in Poland, in the salt mines there. I mean, the salt mines were even bigger than that, but this is massive too. And they're not mining anything. They're just supposedly just building tunnels to store wine because it's a natural temperature setting. Yeah, it's naturally 13 degrees Celsius. It is chilly in there. And in summer, it feels great. But you are going to get a little cold, but they do have blankets up at front, so that's not so bad. But the guides, they tell you repeatedly that they blasted these 8 kilometers, 7.7 kilometers of rock just for aging the Saperavi and other wines. And you get there, and like they even softball, like they're like, oh, here are all the different wine labels they had during the Soviet Union, and there's like 12. But you go now in Georgia, and there's like hundreds of wine labels of different wines. You read these like 12 wine labels that they have up there, the Soviet wine labels, and it's like Rakatsiteli, Saperavi, sparkling Rakatsiteli, more Saperavi. Here's a mix of Saperavi. Here's some Konchkara, which is just a micro-region where they're growing Saperavi. Like they really limited the grape amounts, and now it's like Georgian wine culture is blossoming, man. Like, so they brought up the fact that the Georgian wine culture, like even though it's from, the first remnants of wine drinking, of wine civilization, or wine of wineization, of viticulturalization, of whatever you would call it, goes back to 8,000 BC. And there's a little piala, or drinking vessel, that they got, stained in wine, that we can actually carbon whatever to wine. And the Armenians, of course, are like, but do we have remnants of a 5,000-year-old winery? And it's like, guys, yeah, you have remnants of the 5,000-year-old winery, but obviously if the Georgians had a wine vessel, their wine must have come from somewhere. So got to give it to the Georgians. They had wine first. Plus the Armenians weren't even here then. Oops. Gonna start some rage. That's a little bit of rage baiting. But yeah, so fast forward a bit. These Soviet times, she's like presenting all this as like cool facts about the Soviet Union greatness. But it was actually a downgrade of the already existent culture, which by the 1800s was kind of blossoming because of the peasants were no longer, the serfs were no longer tied to the land. They were liberated. Okay, thank you, Russians. They were liberated. They moved into the city, and it spiked up the demand for wines. And so people started producing wines en masse. They brought in European systems of winemaking, and all kinds of a wine renaissance here in Georgia was going on. And yeah, so you had all that going. But she just, when it goes on to the Soviet part, she glossed over, didn't say all those bad parts about limiting the reality of the wine production. And then, so kind of missed it out. And then the whole softening of the existence, that like the reality is that Metro Stroy did build the complex in the 1950s, maybe as a Cold War bunker, maybe not. Rumor has it that there was some water seepage that ruined the bunker, and so they're just like, what else can we do with all this? And naturally, we can drink. So they turned it into, in 1962, someone had the idea to just turn it into a wine cellar. Perfect temperature, perfect setting. Yeah, why not? And there's all the wineries. So yeah, that makes sense. That does make sense to me to do that like that. Granted, I don't know why you would have a bunker out there either, so I have to question that information as well. Like, you have this, yeah. So, okay, well, you know what I mean. So yeah, on to the experiences. So yeah, you go through this tour, and the tour is pretty cool. Like the setting is cool. They have these like tubes in the ceiling, if you notice. They have that the wine used to just flow down, and you can see where it exits out of the tunnel, and I guess people were just filling up from the entrance. I wasn't really clear on that. They show you some of like the Qvevri scenes, and apparently they are making Qvevri wine in the wine bunker, and they're also mostly doing the European tradition. They call it European traditional, and then they're like steel vats, and I'm like, well, isn't European traditional kind of with oak? But they're doing that too, I guess. And then they have the Qvevri method. And the Qvevri is this clay vessel, kind of like an amphora, that's buried into the ground, and they seal it up for 6 months and let it age there, and then unseal it, and then all that. Before that, they have to press the grapes, of course, with their feet, stinky feet. I don't think Khareba is doing the stinky feet approach. I think they're doing more the machine processing approach, but could be wrong on that. Go ask them. However, I don't know how much to trust them if they're not going to admit it's a bunker. So we leave the whole wine bunker thing, and then you go out and you have your additional experiences. Okay, we skipped the wine tasting, which was to me kind of dumb. Maybe I should have done it because it would help tolerate what happened later. And we went straight for those other experiences. And you're there once, you might as well have the wine tasting. I don't know what was in me. So do the wine tasting when you're there. That's what I recommend. Probably overpriced. It is definitely overpriced, but whatever. The wine tour itself is just 10 lari. It's worth it for 10 lari. Why not? They have different experiences. Maybe they're worth it. I don't know. I think you could get better elsewhere. But it's beautiful grounds. You're spending time in a beautiful park, so why not? So you get there. We did the churchkhela-making first, and my kid was super excited about the churchkhela. He jumps up on the table. He's dipping it in. Like, they already string out the walnuts. And if I was designing this experience, I would let the tourists string the walnuts on there. Give them so many walnuts, let them string it up, and then dip it in. I understand already making the pelamushi stuff, where it's like a grape juice and flour or sugar mix. I understand pre-making that because that could take a while or whatever. And then, but allow the tourists to string it up and then dip it in. Instead, they just give you the string, you dip it, you hang it. That's it. Okay, so from a 2 lari churchkhela, it turns into a 10 lari churchkhela just for that. So yeah. And then we went to the bread making portion, okay, and then there they have a similar setup. They have these pre-made dough balls that you roll out. You mush together and then you roll out, and then you go to the tone and you slap it up, and you slap it on, and then later we wait 10 minutes and they take it off. So during that 10 minutes, we went up to the tower. There's a little Swanee tower thing they got there just for a nice viewpoint. Look up there, come down. And then when it's ready, you have that palamushi stuff, and you have the that stuff that's ready, the churchkhela. Sorry, and so my wife had gone to use the toilet. My kid is running after and I'm going after him to look after him to make sure he doesn't fall over. And my other friends are already getting their churchkhela without us. And then we get back there. My kid, I'm like, come on, over here. And he comes zooming back, and then we turn around, and this guy is putting it in plastic bags. He didn't even wait for us. Like, he saw me there motioning to my kid to hurry up, and he was already taking off and throwing it in the plastic bags. And so now you've got this semi-melted, oozing, juicy mix of flour thing, substance, just squished against the bags. And my kid starts bawling, because he wanted to take down his churchkhela, and it just goes to chaos. And then we have to get out there because, once the kid starts throwing a tantrum, you got to remove the kid from the vicinity as quick as possible, or else to annoy all the other occupants. I am sympathetic to all those people who have to witness children's tantrums. I'm also sympathetic to the parents. There's no way around this. It's bad news once the kid hits the tipping point. Goes over. You just got to remove him from this situation. Finally, when he calmed down, my wife had the brilliant idea to go back and just redo the thing. And we went up to complain the front desk and be like, look, the guy just threw them in the bags, and it kind of ruined the experience for a kid. And then the guy was like, oh, okay, don't worry about it. I'll take it back there. We're going to do it again, right? So the kid's happy. And they did. Like, that was awesome. And you know what? They didn't even have to, because it was like, he was 6 years old. He was free. By the way, everything is free for kids under 6. So, but yeah, I do highly recommend doing all this stuff if you have kids, because it is interesting for them. For parents, maybe not so interesting, because you don't get to string it on. Whatever. But that's cool. A quick note on logistics. Don't try to do Kvareli. It's a day trip from Tbilisi. It's 2.5 hour drive, and a lot of aggressive passing and dodging livestock on the roads. Georgian traffic jams, etc. Just stay overnight. Take it easy, like the local Kakheti people do. They take it easy. Life's nice extend it out. Why not? We stayed at this place, Villa Vitis. I think it's owned by some Polish lady, Georgian guy mix. It's a pretty solid choice. I enjoyed it. There's a little pool. Pool's a little dirty, but I don't. They don't really have the infrastructure to take care of in-ground pools here, so people just kind of do what they can do. That's fine for me. My wife was like, eh. So yeah, Khareba, yes, it's highly processed, but walking through a freezing 7.7 kilometer Soviet bunker is completely unforgettable. It's a cool experience. And if you're attempting a trip like this with your own kids, you know, make sure you watch over the friggin' churchkhela. That's all I got to say on that. So yeah, go ahead and I've got more videos. If you're traveling with kids, I've got more videos down there about kids. I've got videos about Tbilisi. I've got a good video here about swimming in Tbilisi if you're traveling here with your kids. And then also about pools all throughout Tbilisi as well over here. And yeah, check those videos out.